Hello, and welcome to Real Reviews. Happy Halloween! My name is Jamison Rabbit, and joining me today is a man who always wears a mouth guard when he eats, and his name is Mike Roth.
Yes, you could lose so much weight with a mouth guard in there, because the only way you could get it in there is actually with a neti pot, and you got to make it into a soup.
Is that what happened here?
Yeah, this is my safety gear, because every time I do with a neti pot, something gets lodged in there and I have to get surgery. It's weird.
It's pretty wild.
But I see you didn't dress up at all.
Nope.
What's up with that?
I just came late to the show. I was at my other gig. Decided to stop in, do the show today.
I gotta warn you, it's been a popular thing lately to hit someone in the throat if they're dressed up like a clown.
I'm a little worried walking around town today.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people dressed up as Harley Quinn, little girls with bats. That terrify me because those are aimed right at my shin when they swing them. Kids don't like clowns.
And just let everybody know, he went all out. It's all the way down to the sole of his big floppy shoes.
I got my clown underoos on, my bozo underoos, kids. Look out. But besides all that, we are here to talk about some movies this week. Something for a change. We got a few of them on the marquee this week.
We do.
So why don't you tell me about one that you saw?
Well, let's talk about Ouija.
Okay.
Are we good with that?
Sure.
Ouija, directed by Mike Flanagan and produced by Michael Bay. Produced the first one. What we have here is a prequel to last year's Ouija. This has taken place back in the 1960s, 65 to be exact. We have this just recently widowed mother trying to take care of her daughters with income that she can make while putting on a sham game of being able to contact the dead. As an extra prop for her business, she picks up a nice popular game by Parker Brothers called Ouija. This Ouija board actually is able to contact the dead. It was through her daughter, which is played by Lulu Wilson. Her name is Doris Zander. Doris starts to contact her father, she thinks, and other dead people. She feels like she's helping people out. But a demon is latching onto her, and thank God for the priest who realizes this, and they get this all sorted out.
Good.
One of the cool things about this movie, and it's one of the few cool things I could say about this movie, is they take this real want to try to recreate a 1965 film. There will be little splice marks, that little cigarette burn that the projector, you would see those every once in a while. There's some interesting ways of focusing in and out. They didn't use what perceived as a digital way. It seemed more like a cameraman is actually operating older type camera. But as far as that goes, what did you think of it?
I didn't see the movie, so I'm curious.
Oh, you didn't see it?
Nope.
Well, okay. Well, tell you what.
I'm enjoying your review. I didn't see it.
So far, that is the only thing I really liked. A lot of this is predictable. Lulu Wilson is a horrid actor in this movie. A lot like a 60s horror film. It's a long progression, which I would have liked a little bit better if they had actors that I really believed in. The actors were poor, and the focus was all on Lulu Wilson, who played Doris Zander, who's supposed to be this really terrifying child, but to me she felt like a very confident actor, like overconfident, where she's smiling a little bit too much, like, oh, I got this part, I got this down, and it kind of took me out of the movie. This is an okay movie to sit through. I would recommend it. Michael Bay doesn't usually attach his names to good things. Anytime I say Michael Bay, it's usually something bad unless it's the first Purge. And then if I'm talking about the second or third, well, then that's more like him. But I gave it a 2.5.
A tepid review.
A tepid review, sorry.
2.5 stars.
Yeah.
You know what? I have a movie, a Halloween movie of my own this week to talk about. It's called Boo!
Oh, goodness.
A Madea Halloween.
You got my... I started up a little bit. Thank you.
This is, of course, written, directed, starring Tyler Perry. It is the Tyler Perry character that you know and, well, love or hate. But Tyler Perry plays a dad. He's very overprotective of his 17-year-old daughter, but he's also fearful of her. He allows her to push him around at all times and tell him what she's going to do and what she isn't going to do. She's 17 years old, trying to pass herself off as a college-age kid, hanging out in frat parties and such. And being the overprotective but weak-willed dad, he bails and calls Madea up to take care of the situation. Madea, can you watch my daughter and keep her out of trouble? Because I'm leaving. I'm scared of her.
So Tyler Perry's just in the beginning of the movie, and that's it?
No. Tyler Perry is it goes full on Eddie Murphy in this. Tyler Perry is, that's Tyler Perry, that's Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry is acting against himself throughout a large chunk of this movie.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you have all of this going on. There's a lot of old people getting scared by creepy clowns. There's creepy clowns in the house. The daughter makes up this story about the house being haunted so that the old folks will leave so she can go to this frat party. So you have frat boys and scary clowns, both trying to scare the old folks. And there's a lot of scenes that have funny in them as the four old folks are hanging around talking about what's going on. There's some funny moments, but they just go on forever and ever. And it's kind of the same joke repeatedly.
Well, that's the whole deal with Madea, right?
I guess.
I don't know how many Madea movies
This is actually my first entree into the Madea universe.
Oh, okay.
So I'm learning this character outside of what I already knew. There's a lot of bad acting, especially from the kids in this movie. They're pretty bad actors, and it kind of stands out. Tyler Perry obviously doing a ton of heavy lifting in this. And, some of it works, some of it's funny, but a lot of it just kind of lands flat. I was struggling to stay awake through the final act of this movie.
Do you think Tyler Perry is a lot like Eddie Murphy, where he could handle all these characters perfectly?
I mean, I think Tyler Perry saw Coming to America, saw the barbershop scene, said, wouldn't it be great if I made an entire movie like the barbershop scene? Barbershop scene, those scenes are amazing in Coming to America. Mm-hmm. But a whole movie of it with less than stellar acting, not so much. And so, it wasn't scary. It wasn't really funny. It was just kind of blah. It just kind of sat there like Salisbury steak.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind Salisbury steak. I don't want to eat the entire family meal of Salisbury steak. And that's what this kind of was. So if you like a family meal of Salisbury steak, go for it, man. But for me, I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I thought it was very meh.
Meh.
Yeah.
So not excited to see the next Madea movie. No.
Not so much. What do we have next on the marquee, sir? You got another movie?
Well, I have. We also have Jack Reacher, right?
We do, yes.
Jack Reacher is the sequel, which I have not seen the first one, but sequel to the first Jack Reacher. It's Jack Reacher Never Go Back.
Never Go Back, Mike.
Directed by Edward Zurich and based on the book by Child Lee. What we have here is Tom Cruise, again, is Jack Reacher. He is... I really don't know what he is. He's kind of a vagabond who kind of works with the army still. He helps people with their mysteries. He's like the Scooby-Doo gang. We don't know how he gets paid. He just kind of does his thing. And he gets framed for a murder that he didn't commit. He also... has to break people out of prison, his friends.
His friend, Major Turner.
He's also got and while he's trying to find out, his friend Turner, he also finds out that he has a child that might not be his.
Sure.
The government thinks it's his. They think he's a deadbeat dad, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm not the father. So what he does is he picks her up, and they hang out with each other while trying to figure out the next murder mystery. Most of the movie is Jack Reacher punching people at least 3 times and then having them knock out. There's one scene that I thought was particularly funny where Espen. This is the guard.
Yeah.
That was he's about good 6 inches taller than him.
Yep.
He does a 3-punch hit on him, knocks him out cold, takes his clothes because he's
Tom Cruise is notoriously like 5'4",
and it fits perfectly. And instead of escaping the prison like he was supposed to, he turns around, he goes deeper into the prison so he could. Release his friend Turner, played by Kobe Smulders.
Kobe Smulders, yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I knew you would do this. Like, oh, I knew you would just come right in, beat up some more officers, 4 train killers, and then get me out of here."
That's what he does. That's what Jack Reacher does.
You fill out that jacket really nicely, by the way.
That's how Jack Reacher does it. And if you ask Jack Reacher if he's a major, he will remind you, ex-major.
Yeah, because the army was too low class for him. It was holding him back. Because he's so much more badass than the military. And they do a lot of Chuck Norris-like jokes throughout this. It's constantly telling you that Jack Reacher is better than anything in the world.
I mean, the movie is very tongue-in-cheek. It's a tongue-in-cheek action movie. And that's kind of what I like about the Jack Reacher series, it doesn't take itself super seriously.
Oh, it can't.
It is very tongue-in-cheek about what it is. Tom Cruise trying to pass himself off as 40-something years old. That made me laugh, because Tom Cruise is well into his 50s. Deep into his 50s. And, I mean, there's a lot of this just kind of over-the-top crazy action. I mean, there's one scene where he lures a bunch of bad guys into a steel cage. He's like, "Hey, guys, follow me in here." And then it's like perfect action movie setting, like in a steel cage. Like, why don't you guys come at me one at a time? And they do. I mean, it's what all action movies do, but he just tells you, this is what we're doing.
Yeah. And a couple of self-promoting jokes, like the reason why he left the Army was because they ran out of medals.
Right.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. And, of course, if you have any questions, Tom Cruise does run in this movie.
Yes.
Continuing his streak of 36 years of consecutive running. There's the standard, he's being hunted by another government hitman who's kind of tracking their moves throughout here. I like this movie for what it is. I like that this is what I wanted Jason Bourne to be. I could see the action.
Okay.
I could see what was going on throughout this. There's a lot of punching. There's a lot of throwing guys through windows and stuff, and I get to see it all. I don't have the quick cuts. This movie knows what it is. It's not trying to be more than what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of having fun with itself. There's cameras everywhere in this movie. Everywhere they go, they're breaking into somewhere that has cameras, but nobody ever catches them doing anything. He's never caught on camera, despite being in like the highest security places. I thought Kobe Smulders was fun. I thought she was probably the best part of this movie.
Yeah. Oh, well, she really didn't break out of character either. She just played hard-nosed. Yeah. And the daughter, or the supposedly daughter, we really don't know what she is until the end. So
she's a brooding teenager.
She's a brooding teenager, but she should have known better. She's supposed to be the street smart girl who's 14. But in actuality, she looked like she was probably in her younger 20s, who kept on making these really stupid mistakes. They tell her, "Don't carry a cell phone, don't carry a cell phone." It should be really obvious, but for some reason, she just gets around and texts people anyways.
Her motivations didn't make sense.
No, it didn't. And she was usually the cause for them to be caught most of the time, except for the cage match, where it was more like Tom Cruise going, "I should have known you guys were watching me." All 4 of you. And there was some deep pockets because there was always 2 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
These extremely trained people that Tom Cruise could knock out in 3 hits.
That's what he does. That's what Tom Cruise does. He punches people and he runs from people.
That's what he does.
I liked, without getting into what the ending was, I call it a lethal weapon ending. Like the first Lethal Weapon, suddenly it got unexpectedly brutal and almost personal at the end as he's fighting Mr. Jamison, as he's fighting Gary Busey.
Yeah.
It suddenly becomes an MMA match out on the lawn. You're like, oh, this is getting real personal. This one suddenly got kind of weirdly brutal and personal at the end. Like, this is kind of creepy at the end. I dug that. It was a fun ending.
I think the only part I really liked was the ending. That final fight when they're in New Orleans, and they're on top of the rooftops, and you see like all these old air conditioners and stuff like that as they're going from roof to roof. And it did really get brutal at the very end, but for the most part, when it came down to the action scenes, the fight scenes, I'm getting spoiled lately. There's a lot of great choreography in what we're getting out of the Marvel movies, or what we got with Hardcore Henry and stuff like that.
Those are all superhero movies you're referencing.
True,
this isn't a superhero movie.
But they're action.
It's a Chuck Norris movie.
But Chuck Norris, well, I don't really like Chuck Norris movies.
This is him running around, punching people, getting secrets. It's Jason Bourne. It's all those type of movies that we get today. It's just the Tom Cruise version of it.
Yeah, but I want to see more action in the action. Yeah, he's punching, but I want it to make sense a little bit more. I want to be able to see.
I think you might have been looking for something that you weren't going to find in this. Maybe not seeing the first one might have spoiled it.
In my action films, I want to be able to acknowledge all the action that's going on. And even in movies like Hardcore Henry, where everything was really shaky and everything was limited to a first-person perspective, they could pull it off where I knew exactly what was going on. Where in this one, a lot of it is really fast action, and then
I
guys
disagree.
falling
I think it's
down.
the exact opposite of that. I think Jason Bourne is really fast action you can't see. This is standard punching people in the face. I get to see what's going on. I thought it'd be 180 from what you think about. I mean, I think you get to see all the action, which is nice.
Jason Bourne is a terrible example.
But I mean,
also.
this is what I want out of an action movie. Let me see the punches. They showed me the punches. I like that. I want to see Jack Reacher as like a TV series where Jack Reacher wanders the earth, a la Kung Fu,
That's
or
what I was thinking.
One-man A-team, just going from town to town, solving problems. People find him. If you know how to find him, maybe you could have Jack Reacher help you.
Yeah,
I want to see this as a weekly series.
I was thinking this movie really does harken back to the 80s, where the A-Team and Kung Fu and stuff like that.
And that's kind of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's tongue-in-cheek. It knows what it is. I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's not as much fun as the first one. The first Jack Reacher I loved. If nothing else, you get Werner Herzog as a bad guy in the first one, which is amazing. But this is a lot of fun.
I disagree. I gave it a 1.5. I thought it was just pretty much Tom Cruise self-promoting his exercise regime. That's it. Look at me. Look at I'm running. Look at I still got muscles.
Listen to the clown, folks. The clown knows what he's telling you. The last movie we have on the marquee this week is a movie called Keeping Up with the Joneses from director Greg Mottola. It stars Zach Galifianakis and Isla Fisher as a suburban couple who has kind of gotten comfortable with their lives, and they've stopped being adventurous. They're living in their suburban lives, doing their normal day-to-day jobs, and suddenly a new couple moves into the cul-de-sac. And this new couple, played by Gal Gadot and John Hamm, move in, and they're mysterious. They are like the most perfect people. They can do everything. They've been everywhere. They are, to borrow a phrase, the most interesting people in the world. You know, like I am the most interesting man. They've got amazing stories, and Isla Fisher, as the wife, is a little skeptical of this too-good-to-be-true couple, and spies on them say there's got to be something going on. There's got to be secrets going on. Everyone else is buying into it. All the friends, played by Mary Beth Monroe and Matt Walsh, they're all totally buying into these. Hey, they're great. They're a lot of fun. And it comes to find out, I mean, no big surprise, they're spies. You see in the trailer. Things are bad. And now, which side are we going to be on? Like, these spies, they're going to drag us out of our comfortable suburban lives into the world of spying. One of the things I love is Zach Galifianakis' character is obsessed with indoor skydiving.
Yeah.
It seems like such a random and hilarious thing that he's inviting everyone to.
To the point where it's harassment. You know, he's getting memos saying, please stop texting me about indoor appearance.
I thought that was a fun little touch. And, you know, it's kind of funny because this couple, you know, John Hamm and Gal Gadot, they travel to the most dangerous places in the world, and yet suburbia is the one that is the most dangerous for them. It is the hardest for them to escape.
Yeah, it's hard to keep your cover in suburbia.
It is. And so, you know, the plot of what's going on and what they need to do is very secondary in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, and you get a great appearance by a lot of really fun comedic actors. Patton Oswalt shows up in this. I love some Patton Oswalt.
Same here.
Really fun. You know, so the movie is kind of your run-of-the-mill comedy.
Yeah, it's more comedy than it is spy film by far.
Yeah.
It's reminds me of a lot of other kind of spy films where it's in the suburbs, but it still works. It's fun. made me feel good at the end.
Yeah?
I was like, oh, Zach Galifianakis, which actually lost a lot of weight. He's almost unrecognizable from his other movies. I really liked his character again. And I don't think the chemistry between him and John Hamm was very good, but I don't think John Hamm has good chemistry with anybody.
Oh, I disagree. John Hamm he's an Emmy Award, multi-time Emmy Award winner.
Okay, his television show, which I don't get to see because
you don't watch the Mad Men?
No, I don't.
Mad Men is an amazing show.
But I did see him in what was that we saw recently? Was it Mod Squad? No.
I don't know. You think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. It wasn't in Mod Squad. That was Superman. I mean, the movie is it's about communication. It's a story about communication and finding who your true self is and not trying to keep up with the Joneses, not try to match the perfect exterior that people put up because, you know what, everyone's got secrets. Not everyone is what you think they are. And yeah, it's a fun little message. I actually thought the exact opposite. I thought Zach Galifianakis, as much as I love him, I'm so tired of this shtick. It's
really?
the same guy in every movie. He plays the rube, who's just dumber than everyone else and doesn't know it, and stumbles ass backwards into solving the problem. And I'm so tired of it. I watched John Hamm and Isla Fisher and Patton Oswalt and Matt Walsh act circles around him as he just played his usual guy. And I really enjoy Zach Galifianakis as a comedian, but as an actor, it's the same shtick he had with Dinner for Schmucks and Due Date and Masterminds. It's the same guy. He has zero range.
But lately he's been going into his more dark comedies. And
like
that
Masterminds where he played the same character?
No, I was talking about the one where...
Boy, this is
a
good one. Mike's just coming off some serious pain meds.
Actually, this is not too far from
They just let him out of the hospital for an hour.
Pretty much. The one where he had to put on the high school reunion.
Where he had to put on a high school reunion?
Yeah, and he ended up... not going to get into
That's
it
Jack
right now.
Black you're thinking of?
Oh,
and that was Double
gracious.
D or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever that was called. What is that called?
I apologize.
Yeah, that was Jack Black. And I agree, that was not a good movie either.
Wow.
Because I can't even remember the title of it, but that was last summer. Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, I'm going to have to just stop talking.
I love it. Ultimately, what did you give Keeping Up with the Joneses?
I thought it was fun. I liked it. I gave it a 3.
I thought it was pretty vanilla. I gave it a 2.5. I think a lot of this week's movies were just vanilla movies.
Yeah, and really,
not a lot of pepper.
You should expect a little bit something for Halloween. I mean,
something, right?
Something. But
I mean, yeah,
no.
I was really surprised by just how mediocre the week was after coming off a couple of mediocre weeks.
Yeah.
But, we're rolling into better movie season, hopefully.
At least they're giving a lot of mediocre, so we could fill up our time with a lot of mediocrity.
Speaking of a movie, though, that is not mediocre, dealing with some suburban drama, hijinks may ensue. Let's flash back for our movie throwback to 1989, a movie directed by the great Joe Dante. I'm talking, of course, about The Burbs.
That was a great movie.
A great ensemble cast. Tom Hanks stars as a man who he took a week off of work. I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to hang out in my pajamas. It's going to be the best. The week I've always dreamed of. Living in his little cul-de-sac. New neighbors move in. And the Klopeks, there's something not right about them.
No, you don't see
something not quite right. The house is unkempt. There's got to be something going on. And the neighborhood starts to come abuzz with what's going on over there. And you've got a great cast with Bruce Dern, who is amazing in this movie, Corey Feldman, Carrie Fisher, just a host of characters. And Tom Hanks, at perhaps his comedic best in this. I mean, he is great in this.
This was one of his final movies where he was Tom Hanks, the comedian.
Yeah.
And then he started getting into the more serious roles. Not saying that he can't be funny when he wants to be funny. He just doesn't choose to be as much anymore.
Yeah.
But he had a particular shtick that I really enjoyed that came out of the 80s. And this whole movie is just filled with. Everybody is doing such a great job in this. And the movie is not necessarily about the spooky neighbors, but how kind of spooky the neighborhood could actually be, trying to find out if a neighbor is up to no good.
It reminds me very much of one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes, about the aliens on, I can't pull the aliens on such and such street, where there's a power outage on the street, and suddenly everyone comes out and they think they're being abducted by aliens. Somebody is the bad guy in the street. Next thing you know, people are trying to murder each other.
Yeah.
All because the power went out. And it's just what goes on in your mind when suspicion starts to arise.
Yeah.
And that's kind of this.
And of course, in the end of this one, they let you feel like, oh, well, yeah, they were right all along. So, that's
Right.
cool.
But I mean, Tom Hanks, like you say, in the 80s, Tom Hanks had this great, he was your every guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy that you knew, the guy you wanted to hang out with. He was just your everyday Joe. That's how he passed himself off. And I think that has continued in his dramatic work. You're like, yeah, no, he's just a regular guy. He's not Tom Cruise out there punching people in the face. He's Tom Hanks. He's just a guy. And so I think that's why he's kind of America's sweetheart. He has these great comedic roots. They show up every once in a while. This past week on Saturday Night Live, he hosted Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I missed
There was a
it.
great skit, which is dumb but funny, where the people are on this haunted ride going through an elevator. And every floor, it's 100 floors of terror. And every floor, there's a different terror. And at one floor, it's just Tom Hanks as some guy called like Johnny Pumpkins. And the song comes up and he does a dance. And then the doors close. They're like, what was that? I want to know who's this Johnny Pumpkins guy. And it's just Tom Hanks being funny. I'm sure I totally undersold it, but he's got great comedic roots.
Yeah.
And the Burbs, the Burbs and Money Pit were right around the same time. Kind of similar in tone.
And I think Joe versus the Volcano came out after this, and that was pretty much the ending of him wanting to be a comedian role.
Then
and
Philadelphia
more of a dramatic.
came up. And then,
that's definitely the
then
end of
he
his.
went full drama.
But not that he's not a funny guy. You want to know a fun fact about this movie?
Okay.
Guess what the Rotten Tomato meter is for this?
26%.
No, well, it's 47.
Okay.
But good guess.
No, but
I
it should
can't
be way
believe
higher.
it.
It should be the
Way
80s.
higher.
Should be the 80s, folks. Get on your RT and fix that.
And Rick forget what his last name is.
Okay.
The neighbor that Tom Hanks was most friends with, he just died last year.
God bless him. R.I.P., Rick. All right, moving on. Go check out the Burbs. We love the Burbs. But let's take a look real quick ahead at what is coming out the weekend of November 4th. Mike, we've got 3 movies that will be on the marquee that week. The first one is the next Marvel superhero movie. It is Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch showing up as Doctor Strange.
I'm looking forward to it. This is supposed to break down that universe wall so they could explain why there's so many multiple Spider-Mans and stuff like that, if they choose to do that.
We'll see. Could be Inception.
I'd love to see the multiverse explained.
I'm
great.
hopeful for it. As opposed to the next movie, Trolls will be coming out that week.
I'm kind of looking forward to it now.
Nope. I have zero interest in this movie. This movie feels like I am... God bless my daughter wants to go see this, because I might have made you just go see it without me.
At first, I was dreading it, but now I'm kind of looking forward to it. It looks like it's going to be a fun little musical. I don't know. Maybe
it's got Justin Timberlake.
Maybe the hours and hours and hours of advertisements is
finally broken you down.
Broken me down. Yes.
The final movie we have on the marquee that week will be Hacksaw Ridge. Looks like a pretty great war drama starring Andrew Garfield.
There we go.
I almost pulled the mic there. Andrew Garfield. Looks pretty spectacular. We will see, though. Those are all coming out November 4th. Before we leave you, of course, we have to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, the Palace here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring Real Reviews. We enjoy coming in. You can find no better place to sit and watch a movie than in a beautiful Dream Lounger. If you want to find more from us, of course, you can always find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. Just go type in @RealReviewsTV. That'll get you where you need to go with all that. You can find us. KSun.TV has 131 previous episodes of this show. Trust me, we don't always look like this.
No, but there are 2 other Halloween episodes.
There's some Halloween episodes.
I loved our first one. I came as you were
That
me.
was a classic.
Then last year we raided the costume.
The prop closet,
Closet was
it was pretty good. Who knows what'll happen next year? But yeah, that's all the places you can go to find us. Next week we're going to be talking about. Speaking of Tom Hanks, we've got his newest movie Inferno in theaters.
Oh,
and we'll see what else we have for you as well.
I think that's the only big one.
That's the list.
Yeah.
But we'll see what else we have going on for you next week. But until that time, my name is Jamison.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.
See, I got that last one right.